See those mountains in the distance? You see them? That's where I want to be. Or someplace like those mountains, making videos that we normally make, you know, out in nature, enjoying things. But unfortunately, right now, with the weather and with my truck at the truck doctor, it is impossible for us to make videos in the mountains where we go, where we belong, where we share amazing videos with you. But right now, it's just not possible to go to the mountains because of life stuff. So in this video, we are gonna fry chicken in a Dutch oven. So yeah, you see snow behind me, or the remnants of our last semi-snowstorm here in Virginia. And more snow is on the way in the next hour or so. 2 to 4 inches, give or take. And that's something that we've really enjoyed getting used to about living in the state of Virginia, is that we actually have winter weather, which is kind of fun for Southerners like ourselves. Carolyn was born and raised in Florida, and I spent most of my life in Tennessee. But this crazy thing happens with me when I see snow, when there's snowfall. I crave soul food. I crave food that I grew up with. Cornbread, mashed potatoes, green beans, all that stuff that goes with it. And today I'm going to share with you how I grew up eating fried chicken, sort of. I mean, there's a few exceptions, a few differences, a few nuances. I mean, it's not like I was ever taught how to do this. I mean, you just sort of watch your grandparents make stuff. Now, we are a week after the holidays here, so this is the time period where you're putting up the Christmas decorations, which is exhausting because I got to take all of these decorations and the tree and all that stuff downstairs to where we keep it, and it's a nightmare. It's like a cardio workout. So I'm earning this meal because I am going to get a real workout taking all of this stuff downstairs. And at some point in this whole process, I've got to salt the driveway. So yeah, a lot to do today.
First, you need to soak the chicken. Well, I guess you can call it brining the chicken, but technically I don't think it's brining. Marinade probably isn't the right word either, or maybe it is, I don't know. But here's the thing, you need buttermilk. Now, I grew up in a culture in which people drink buttermilk, usually accompanied with southern cornbread. So buttermilk in various sizes are more common in some regions and probably easier to shop for. But here in this part of Virginia, not so much. Anyway, you need to soak the chicken in buttermilk, no less than 2 hours. Really, you need about 4 hours, but 2 is acceptable. And you need to add salt. I guess that's why a lot of people call it a brine. Nope, this is not a brine. And it's not really a marinade.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm totally wrong. This is totally a marinade. By definition, it is a marinade. Okay, continue mission.
How much salt? I don't know, whatever. About this much, I guess. So in a bowl, and it doesn't have to be a yellow bowl, any color will do, you add your chicken, your buttermilk, and salt. If you want to add other things, that's fine. You do you. In this video, we're cooking chicken thighs because that's what was in the freezer. Now with this meal, I'm making southern cornbread and green beans. Normally, I'd also make fried potatoes and onions, but I'm not in the mood to cut potatoes. So we're minimalizing our sides. And that's fine because I need to lose weight, and there's no reason to add another unhealthy vegetable. By the way, we're using lard, your grandparents' favorite type of cooking oil. Now the hardest part of this whole thing, well, the hardest part for me is getting everything timed right. I like hot cornbread and hot but not burnt chicken. That's not always easy. And the green beans? Well, these are canned green beans, so really, who cares, am I right? I mean, you put them in a pot, you leave them there until about 10 minutes before you eat. So yeah, let's not worry about the green beans. Oh yeah, a meat thermometer isn't a bad idea. I don't use one, but hey, it's not a bad idea. Now it's a good thing that we have buttermilk because we're going to need it for the cornbread. And just for clarity, we're frying the chicken in the Dutch oven and we're baking cornbread in the iron skillet. You can reverse that and make the cornbread in the Dutch oven and fry the chicken in the skillet, but I don't trust this iron skillet. Not yet. But I do trust it with cornbread. So while the chicken is soaking in delicious buttermilk, let's talk about cornbread. Because to get this time right, we got to get the cornbread in the oven first.
Ah, just like Granny used to make.
Winter storm warning, heavy snow expected. Travel could be very difficult. The hazardous conditions could impact the morning or evening commute.
So these days, weather personalities, meteorologists, if you will, they kind of have snow prediction down to a science. Well, I mean, how often are they right? Well, anyway, according to the latest computer-generated graphics on my iPhone, we are 20 minutes away from this 2 to 4 inches of snow happening. We'll see.
And we begin with bacon drippings, or as I like to call it, melted pig fat. You could use butter, but why? I like to fry the bacon in the skillet, eat the bacon, and leave the melted pig fat and continue mission. How much bacon grease? Well, about this much, I guess, give or take. Okay, here's what else you need. About 3.5 cups of cornmeal. Imagine that. After all, we're not making tomato bread, we're making cornbread. You need about a cup of flour. I'm not sponsored, but if you're using any flour other than Martha White, you're wrong. You'll need about 2 teaspoons of baking soda. I could do a whole video on baking soda and baking powder some other time. To bring out the flavor, you're going to add about 2 teaspoons of salt. And 2 teaspoons of sugar.
But sugar is optional. If you're from the north, you tend to like a sweeter cornbread. If you're from the southern Midwest or the southeast part of the country, southwest part of the country, you tend to not like a sweet cornbread.
You need a couple of eggs, too. You need 2.5 cups of buttermilk. Finally, about a half a stick of butter, and honestly, it doesn't matter if it's salted or not. Unless you're trying to record a YouTube video, go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees with skillet and melted pig fat inside the oven. It's probably a good thing if you keep the melted pig's fat inside the skillet. If you are making a YouTube video, well, I don't know what to tell you. Don't burn yourself. Now, if you're guessing that we're going to mix all this stuff up in a bowl, well, you get a cookie precious, but not in this video because we're not making cookies. As you're mixing the batter, notice the texture. It doesn't need to be as smooth as cake batter, unless you're making northern cornbread, in which I couldn't care less. But seriously, making great southern cornbread is more about experience than ingredients. You're going for a certain texture with your batter. Things like humidity and elevation, well, that matters too. Anyway, use one of these first aid prevention devices and pull the skillet out of the oven and place it on the stove without burning yourself. This will prevent you from saying things you'll regret later. Then pour the batter on top of the bacon grease. Now, one could argue that I've used too much bacon grease, but that would make you argumentative, and you really need to work on that. Set your timer for 33 minutes, or something like that. It's mysterious. Anyway, I really need to hurry up with the chicken. The clock is running.
So yeah, it's been like 30 minutes, no snow. They said 30 minutes ago there'd be snow. I saw like a flake, like one flake that could have come from my roof. I have no idea.
Set your stove eye to a medium heat, and as your Dutch oven starts heating up, load that baby down with some lard. How much? Well, you're wanting the oil to cover the chicken. The grease needs to get up to about 300 degrees if that helps. I usually throw in a pinch of flour to see if it's ready, but wait, I'm getting way ahead of myself. The chicken. Start taking some pieces of chicken out of the delicious buttermilk and flour those bad boys up. This is my method. Remember this commercial?
It's Shake and Bake, and I help.
Don't dry the chicken or anything. Throw it in a bag and shake it around and drop it safely in the Dutch oven. Now, I gotta be honest with you. Normally, I just drain some of the buttermilk out of the bowl and dump a bag of flour in the bowl and stir it up. I'm just saying. That's what I normally do. Anyway, after you've made sure the Dutch oven is hot enough, you put the chicken in the Dutch oven. Imagine that. I use this pinch of flour method. Oh wait, I already told you that. If the pinch of flour starts to sizzle, it means the grease is hot enough. On a different note, I think meteorologists are like geologists in that they're paid to make guesses, because like it still isn't snowing. Anyway, the chicken takes about 15 minutes, or maybe less. Okay, it can be ready in as little as 10 minutes. It really just depends. If you don't know if the chicken is done or not, use a meat thermometer. Chicken is done when the internal temperature is at 165. These thermometers are cheap and terrible and a complete waste of money. I suggest either learning old school methods or buying some kind of overpriced laser that probably requires an app to use. So, how did everything taste? Well, the chicken was excellent. The chicken was juicy, tender, and it had a lot of flavor with an outstanding crunchy crust. But the process is so time-consuming. I was only able to cook about 3 pieces at a time. In that regard, it's about the same as cooking with an electric deep fryer, but it does taste a whole lot better. The cornbread, well, not my best, and if you're good at making southern cornbread, you probably saw the top of the cornbread and knew that it wasn't great. In full disclosure, I didn't use my normal recipe because I was missing a few things, and we didn't want to go to the store because, well, it was supposed to be pouring the snow right now. So the cornbread came out a little dry and boring. And the green beans? Who cares? They're out of a can, and that's not really cooking, people. This year, I'm saying no to simple sugar and yes to lard. Okay, not really. The truth is that this kind of cooking, that is deep frying, is sort of rare in our house, if for no other reason than the mess. But cooking with the Dutch oven can actually be pretty healthy. And we're going to be cooking with the Dutch oven a lot this year.
So it's finally snowing. I mean, it was supposed to start at 6. Well, it didn't start till like 8 or 8:30. But with the kitchen clean, thanks to my wife, Carolyn, I don't know what we would do without her because I don't clean as I go, so it stays pretty much a mess. So she comes in and bails me out. But the dinner was great. But now the only thing left to do is, well, finish off this buttermilk.
Okay, real quick, we released 2 videos recently that you may have missed. The first video is our 2021 blooper video. Trust me, you don't want to miss that. It gives you a moment to appreciate the power of editing. The second video is all about the YouTube recommended page. It's pretty interesting. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you'll really enjoy those 2 videos as well. You'll have the opportunity to select one of those videos in just a few seconds. I'm so grateful that you took the time to watch this video. I've left links in the description, and make sure that you leave a comment and that you're subscribed. My name is Bill Marion, and this is A Nose for Life. Now go ahead and click on one of these other videos.